While testing my new toy, I noticed that the mowing deck shakes excessively when the blades are engaged. On the other hand, at a high RPM, it calms down almost completely. Let's check what is wrong here. So here is the rotor. And I don't see any defects yet. What I can see that some different bolts are used for the blades to fasten them, but that is not a big deal. Looking for the reason of vibrations, I removed the blade rotor from my tractor. So I spent one afternoon and disassembled the rotor. It is in decent condition, but affected by corrosion a lot. So I'm going to clean it, treat with anti-rust and paint again. So I hope I will use it for many more years after that. And the blades are not so very dull or bad shape, just little bit corroded and covered with grass residue. As it is somewhat rusty, but not very much, so I cleaned it as it is not supplied anymore, and going to dip it into the muriatic acid and remove all the rust from it. So I made this kind of pan. As a seal I'm using polyethylene film, like that. That disc goes there. As I don't like to keep the muriatic acid inside the garage with all those vapors and bad smell, so I'm bringing this pan outside and leave it for the night or maybe a few days. I'm using brake cleaner to remove all the remainings of oil. And here comes muriatic acid. I'm a little bit disappointed as that quantity what I have is not enough to fully submerge it, but maybe I'll find 1 more liter of that acid. I found a little bit more remainings of that acid from earlier, but it is not very much also. So anyway, what I have is what I have. and the level is not perfectly level here, so I put some shims here, and now it is finally covered with acid completely, and I'm going to leave it whatever I need. And I'm putting some lid on it for some safety. I'm very curious how it worked, if it worked, and the weather is chilly, so the reaction is not very active. And let's see, what do we have here? Okay. This should be all paint, still not removed. Seems to me like clean a lot, like very clean. So that was the result after 18 hours. So overall I'm happy with the result. So it is bare metal, and just the remainings of old paint is present here. What is on the other side? I think here are those places where air was trapped and the bubbles were here. I'll flip it over and put it back for some time. So I never did this before, but now I tried and I'm happy about the result. There is still some old paint remaining here, but the surface is clean in every small hole. So here are those places where the bubbles gathered. And now applying rust converter. I wasn't completely sure if I need to clean and remove rust from those blades, but why not? So I found this bottle, which is very good size for the blades to soak in. I just degrease them with brake cleaner and start. I tried to arrange them with some spaces at least at the bottom, and now they look like this. Unfortunately, they are not fully submerged and those tips won't be treated. So I kept those blades in the acid for almost a week, and now I'm going to remove them and let's see what is the result. Neutralizing. They got some strange stains like copper. I don't know what is that. Much cleaner now. So all are neutralized and washed with water. This one is still with rust. I think they were too close together with other blades, so not very good reaction of acid, but here is the result. All now are covered with surface rust slightly, and I need to apply rust remover like this, something, rust converter. Boiler room is the best place for drying painted parts. They are now after 2 coats of epoxy primer. The blades are now with anti-rust protection and painted, and I'm going to check if they differ very much in weight. So before sharpening, it was 279, and after sharpening is 277, so it lost 2 grams while sharpening, so I can adjust a little bit the weight of all the blades by sharpening more or less. That is how the angle of the sharpening looks like. After dismantling the rotor, I found out those bolts to be there. Those are 5/16 of an inch fine thread bolts. Those are longer ones, and those are must have been replaced while sharpening or on whatever occasion. So all are quite different. So I'm going to switch to new ones. It is very difficult here to find American standard bolts, so I switched to metric. Those are M8 fine thread, but they are longer a lot, so I'm going to cut them to necessary length. All good length now. For balancing the rotor, I not made yet, but I cut out this temporary hub from the plywood, and it should fit here into this permanent hub inside it. So I've made 5 tests, and I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 marks, which are the lightest spots. So the lightest average is somewhere here. So I should put here the heavier blade, and here is the lighter one. Here are my blades from heaviest to lightest, and this pair is a biggest difference. So this one is 283 and this one is 277. 6 grams difference. So this should go to the up position and this should go to the lower position. So most of marks are here, this half. So somewhere here or here should be the heavier one and this is the lighter one. Ta-da! So let's test once again. Let's look at the results. So what do we see? We see that most of lightest part is here and almost nothing is here. But overall it is not so very consistent, stopping at one point. So let's say it's acceptable. And with that, I'd say that I finished with this rotor. It is now protected from rust and let's say balanced and ready to go. So where did it stop? Somewhere here, the upper point.